For joining me for this presentation called No More Excuses Financial Class. I want you to start building on a strong financial foundation. My name is Devin Harings, and I started Harings' Financial Coaching to help people win with money. I want to bring people hope, and I want to show everybody that everyone can win with money. And they just have to start believing and start using strong financial principles. I want to stress from the very beginning, this class isn't meant to go over everything in great detail. It's around 20 minutes long. And so if you want more detail, you can contact me for a financial coaching class or check out my videos or other videos on my YouTube channel. But again, this is more of a high level overview. But if you follow these principles, I believe you're going to be in a lot better place months and years from now. So I want to stress, why take this class? One, I want to help you succeed. I want to see you thrive financially so you can bless others and expand God's kingdom. I want to relieve some of that financial stress you may have. Money shouldn't be a constant source of worry. So I want to equip you with the tools that'll help you win. I want you to be able to serve others. This class will help you learn solid financial principles, which will empower you to make wise financial decisions that you can use to help others. I want you to steward God-given resources. We have all been given gifts and talents from God, and I want you to use them wisely and to the fullest. And so you have to learn how to manage those, and so you can use them to help others. Again, God has entrusted us with these gifts, and the best gift we can give back to Him is using these to serve others. I want you to promote generational wealth. I believe everybody can become wealthy. And my goal is to see everyone build wealth that benefits not only you, but also future generations. My family has followed these principles for probably 13 plus years, and they work, and they've helped many other people. I want you to avoid costly mistakes. I want to guide you away from common financial pitfalls so you can stay on the right path of stability and success. And I want to stress to you, don't delay making these changes. The decisions you make now could help you build millions in long-term wealth. And small habits equals big results, which means anybody can win. So for example, saving $10 per week, you could skip a few coffees or a movie or some snacks. And so that would total about $40 a month. And if you started right out of high school from age 18 to 65, that could grow to over $500,000. That means anybody can win if they just start saving. For example, think about what a $5 coffee is actually costing you. If you were to take that $5 and invest it at age 18 and took it out age 65, that could be worth over $535. And so it just shows you the power of compound interest and the power of investing early. And again, the goal here isn't to never spend money. It's to be intentional and prioritize your future wealth. You have to start believing you can do this. I have seen people start to win, and they've all had different amounts of income. And so I believe in you. You have to start believing in yourself. I know you can do this. You have to remember, though, change is up to you. Nobody else can do this for you. I'm going to provide you the tools. I hope you start following them, but in the end, change is up to you. I want to stress to you, there is no easy button. I think too many times in this life we're sold this easy button for easy weight loss, easy financial advice. That is not what I have seen in my life. There is no easy button. Everything worthwhile is uphill. You have to work at it. If you want a good marriage, you have to work at it. If you want to lose weight, you have to work at it. If you want to be a good dad or mom, you have to work at it. But remember, you can do this. I want to stress, you need a solid foundation. For example, build on God's foundation. I'm not trying to push my faith on you. Everyone has to make that decision yourself. But the older I get, I realize how important it is to follow biblical principles for every area of my life. I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Jesus and the Holy Spirit helping me change who I once was. Unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. You need God guiding you. But godliness with contentment is great gain. We have to learn to be content with what we have. I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Follow God's plan. But remember, the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. We have to make sure we don't become prideful. And remember, God gives us the ability to produce wealth. He gives us wisdom. And if we lack wisdom, we can ask for it. He's going to give it to us generously. And whatever we do, do it as unto the Lord. People are going to disappoint you at times. God won't disappoint. You may not understand his timing or why things happen, but we have to learn to trust him, and that's a process. But remember, do everything as unto him. This is something that it's more about faith. And God, this Bible verse talks about bringing the tithe, and that's 10% of your income. You give it to the church. And this can be tough, especially if you're in a tough financial spot. But this is something my family and I have been doing for a while, and I'm so glad we do it. I'm not saying that if you give 10%, you're going to get 20% the next week, but there is something about blessings tied to the tithe. So I want to encourage you, have faith, step out. Remember, God owns it all. So what he's saying is we can keep 90% that'll be blessed by him, but give the 10% to the church. Remember, don't copy the behaviors and customs of this world. That is going to get you in trouble. You have to learn to follow God's plan. Otherwise, I believe you aren't going to truly be satisfied. If you just copy the world, it's more surface level deep. It can seem so much fun, but in the end, it can make us feeling empty. So follow the Lord. And this is very important about wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. I think a lot of what this verse is saying is with wisdom and time, that is what allows us to build wealth, right? Because we've all made poor financial decisions. I have, but the older I've gotten, the better we can manage God's resources. Because I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned from others. So don't be in such a hurry to get rich quick. I wanted to give some tips to married couples and singles. Once you become married, you are a team. You have to budget together and come to an agreement and stick to it. You have to give and take. There will be disagreements, and this is okay. Stay civil and give each other a lot of grace. Take a break if you need to, or if you get frustrated, walk away. Don't focus on how hard it's going to be or what you're going to miss out on if you start budgeting. Instead, focus on the results. For example, less stress, leaving a godly legacy, being able to bless your kids and others. Remember, it gets easier over time, and you're making short-term sacrifices for an amazing future. Always pray together and ask God to help you be successful. Singles, you get to make your own decisions. You have to budget and stick to it also. I would encourage you, try to find an accountability partner to hold you accountable. And always pray for God's favor. One thing I wanted to show you is the why for this class, and I wanted to show you what people have told me in the Financial Peace class. Financial Peace University, otherwise known as FPU. I have co-taught it about 4 times at the time of this video, and it's common to hear people in the class say, I wish I would have known and followed this plan sooner. But you don't have to make the same mistakes we did. I'm not going to go through all of these, but what I did is I had people think of the advice you'd give yourself in high school if you could go back in time, or what advice you'd give yourself after high school. And over it talks about, I wish I would have saved money. I wish I would have followed this plan. I wish I wouldn't have bought things that I couldn't afford. Wish I would have got on a budget sooner. And these are all things that you can do right now. So don't just listen to me. Listen to all these other people at different ages. Again, I'm not going to go through them all, but you can pause the video if you want to read them. But it's just as important to figure out your why. And how do you discover your financial why? Pray for alignment. Ask God to align your passions with your calling, guiding you toward a purpose-driven financial journey. Clarify your vision. What do you want out of life? Who do you feel called to help or serve? Identify your passions. What excites and motivates you? Your passions can shape your financial goals. Dream big. Do you want to be outrageously generous, just like our Heavenly Father? Generosity attracts people. And imagine the possibilities. What would you do if you could save up $1 to $3 million in retirement? Would you give, invest, or create something meaningful? And you have to remember to trust God's timing. Don't stress over finding your purpose. Let God guide you. There's no need to rush. Just keep moving forward. Keep asking God to guide your steps. Embrace the process. Don't be afraid to step out and try new things. If there's fruit in something, that might be your right path. Not guaranteed, but that's one way to possibly know if you're on the right path. Remember, John Maxwell said, everything worthwhile is uphill. And take a moment to reflect. What is God placing on your heart for your financial future? Set some goals. You can download a goal tracker app. I use the habit tracker. I'm sure there's a lot more out there, but it works pretty good for starting out, trying to get some traction setting goals. Set SMART goals. They have to be specific, clearly defined, measurable. You got to be able to track the progress. Achievable, have to be realistic. Relevant, align them with your values. And time-based, you have to set deadlines. For example, a real simple one is saving for a vehicle or something else. Let's say you want to save $1,000 in 5 months. Break it into smaller steps. So you'd go $200 a month or even further, $50 a week. So after that first week, if you don't have $50, you got to get going. Maybe cut something from your budget. Maybe work more hours. A great way to get on track with your money is you got to stay out of debt. There is so much debt that is sold to us through credit cards, through bank loans, and anything you buy, you can pretty much take a loan out on it if it's a large enough purchase. So stay out of debt. I know it's hard, but it's worth it. Remember, the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is slave to the lender. And these are just some statistics about what debt has done to our country. The average credit card debt for college students is $3,200. So and interest is probably about $720 a year if you get about 22% interest if you don't pay it off. If you would divide 720 divided by 12 months, that's $60 a month. If you invested that from age 22 to 65, you could have over $500,000. So it's not just the $60 that it's costing you and the monthly payment. It's what you're missing out on. There's $1.2 trillion in credit card debt, and it's estimated almost half of the people carry a balance. In other words, they're paying the high interest rates. And I believe most people don't get credit cards just to go into debt. I think life happens and then all of a sudden they can't pay them off and they get in trouble. Remember, rewards aren't worth the risk. A guy I know, he said he signed up for a credit card company for a free pizza. That's not worth $720 a year in interest. So stay away from the rewards. And you have to build your own wealth instead of making others rich. Think about how nice the buildings are for credit card companies and banks. It's because they're taking your money and they are building wealth rather than you keeping it so you can build your own wealth. And this is probably one of the most important things you need to do to make sure you get on the right track, is get on a budget. It's hard at first, but it's worth it. And an important part of the budget is you have to figure out what wants and needs are. A need is food, water, shelter, clothing, maybe internet if you have to work from home, but otherwise everything else is probably a want. And so you have to know what a want is so you can eliminate that from your budget if you're trying to save and you can't afford things. Budgeting. You may not like budgeting, but you're going to like the results. Budgeting is one of the most important steps. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Start with the simple paper budget. You can use the EveryDollar app. You can use the envelope system, whereas if you budget, let's say $500 for groceries, you put $500 in an envelope for groceries, and that way you know how much money you have to spend. Budgeting helps you save. And I don't have time to go into it, but Dave Ramsey on his website has some quick start budgets. He has a lot of other forms. And what you have to do is you have to make sure your expenses aren't more than your income before you start the month. And then each week you have a budget meeting to see how your expenses are doing. If something comes in unexpected or higher than you think, you have to adjust your budget so you don't go over. I'd recommend the EveryDollar app. Dave Ramsey's company created this. Super user friendly. You can tie it to your bank for a small fee. This is an amazing app. I recommend it. But again, I'm sure there's other apps out there, so you can decide if this works for you. One thing I want to encourage you to do is find your calling. Keep praying about it. Be patient and try some things. Ask yourself, is this only for me or for God when you try something? Don't do it for selfish reasons. What are your passions, interests, or talents? What problems or issues do you want to solve? Example, do you want to help people out of debt? Do you want them to know Jesus? Do you want to teach them about health or missions? Or do you want to use money to help others? Whatever it is, try to find your why. And I would encourage you, shadow people and do some internships to see if you like a job. No matter what you do, make sure you understand your purpose and the value you bring. In other words, what is your why? Why are you doing it? Form some good habits. These can come from setting goals. Forming the right habits is a marathon. In other words, you're going to work on it every day. Make the right habits easier to do. For example, put a Bible or book by your bed if you want to start reading. Keep fruit on the table so you grab a healthier snack instead of a candy bar. James Clear has an amazing book called Atomic Habits, and I would encourage you, if you're trying to form some good habits, read this book. He also talks about making bad habits harder to do. If you want to get off your phone, put it in a drawer after 7 p.m. Throw away the junk food. Put your cigarettes, across the room out of sight. Make it harder to do. It takes time to gain credibility and respect, but good habits can help. And it's so important to be credible because this can help you, especially when you're trying to get promotions or trying to find that right job. Gain that credibility. Retirement. I'm just going to quickly go through this. I'm not a financial advisor, but these are some of the things that have worked well for me, and this is what we try to do with our money. And remember, you can become a millionaire, and your chances are going to be even higher because you're avoiding debt and getting on a budget. You want to start early. You could lose out on over $1 million if you wait. For example, if you invest $200 a month at age 22 to 65, you'd have about $1.7 million. If you wait till you're 30, you'd be around $760,000. That's almost a difference of $1 million. So my point here isn't to, get all frustrated and don't ever start. My point is, no matter where you're at, get on a plan and get started investing. And if you did $300 a month at age 22 to 65, you're at almost $2.5 million. And if you wait till you're 30, about $1.1 million. The difference of almost $1.3 million. And I want to stress, don't get frustrated if you haven't started yet. Follow the plan and make investing part of that. The biggest thing I want you to get out of this is anybody can become a millionaire if you work at it. And when you're looking for a job, don't just look at the salary, consider the benefits. An employer 401k match equals free money. Getting good health insurance, HSA contributions, and other benefits all can help you on your financial journey and help you keep out of debt. Key takeaways: small, consistent investments early equals massive wealth later. Don't delay, future you will thank you. Be wise. These are just a few tips and tricks I wanted to give people just for things to watch out for. Don't blindly trust people. Always think critically before making financial decisions. Follow the money. Remember, businesses need to make money. Hopefully that's not their main goal. Hopefully it's about serving their customers. But be careful. Ask yourself, how are they making money? This can help you figure out if there's a catch to their product or what they're trying to sell you. Pause before big purchases. For major buys, wait 1 to 2 days before deciding. Too good to be true? Probably is. Be skeptical of unrealistic offers. Pushy sales tactics equals red flags for me. If someone is pressuring you, walk away and reflect. Think about it. And remember, there is no free lunch. Be cautious of free offers. Trust but verify. And I just wanted to quickly touch the baby steps because Dave Ramsey does an amazing job with the 7 baby steps. And he goes through those in the Total Money Makeover book. And it's a great book to read. But steps 1 through 7, it pretty much helps you get on a starter emergency fund. Then it gives you a plan to pay off debt. Then it helps you save up a bigger emergency fund and then start investing, saving for kids' college, pay off your home early. Then the most important one is build wealth and give generously. What I want to stress is if you can avoid debt, you can jump right to baby step 3, assuming you have some money saved up for your starter emergency fund. So it's important, stay out of debt. So key takeaways from this class: stay away from debt, start saving early, stick to a budget, you'll be thankful later. And some final encouragement: remember, wealth isn't just about buying more stuff. It's about building up wealth to help other people. I believe you'll be way more satisfied in life if you build wealth to help and serve others. Keep God as your foundation. Pray and ask Him for wisdom. Trust the process. Some of this will take time, but it works. And I'm so proud of you for sticking with this presentation and being willing to try something new. I know it can be hard, but I know you can do this, so don't give up. I know you won't regret it in the future. Some things to consider. Consider taking Financial Peace University. These classes can totally transform people's lives. I have seen people start to have hope, start to believe they can win, so you can too. Consider signing up for a free consultation with myself. And remember, a coach is like a GPS, and I can help you create a plan that works for you, and we can help figure out what is the best route for you. Some people want to get on a plan that is very aggressive and they get out of debt very quickly. Other people, maybe they want to take a little slower approach. Either way, you're still moving towards your goals. And so I'd love to be able to walk with you on that journey. If you're interested, you can message me on my Harings' Financial Coaching page. There's the link on the screen. I also want to encourage you, check out my YouTube videos at Harings' Financial Coaching just for some other tips and tricks. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions in the future. And remember, I believe in you and you can do this. Thanks for watching.